Hi everybody, my name is Mr. Rohloff. I am the Title I interventionist here in the Parsippany School District, and what I'm going to show you today are some multiplication strategies that you can use with your kids. Okay, the first one that we're going to talk about is the group strategy. Now, I look at this problem, it's 25 times 12. Your kids might be intimidated by it, you might be intimidated by it, but there are some strategies that we can use to make things a lot easier. Okay, so the first one is the group strategy, and I'm going to take the number 25. Okay, and I'm going to break this apart. I know that there are 5 groups of 5 in 25 because 5 times 5 is 25. So what I can do, I can take 5 and I multiply it by 12 and I get 60. Okay? But, right, we said that there's 5 groups of 5 in 25. So now I need to take my answer of 60, right, and multiply it by those 5 groups, and I get 300. So 25 times 12 would give me 300. Okay, so that's just one strategy that you can use, right, when you're doing 2-digit by 2-digit multiplication. Okay, there's other strategies that you can use. So let's take a look at another one. The half double strategy. So using the same numbers, 25 times 12, I could break one number apart and break it in half, and then I can double the other number. So just looking at these two numbers, I know that I really can't break 25 in half. I could, but I'm not going to get a solid whole number. So I'm going to double the 25, and I'm going to break the 12 apart in half. So if I double 25, I get 50. And now 12, I'm going to break apart into half. So half of 12, I know is 6. Right? So 50 times 6, right, is just 300. Okay? And what I tell kids too, right, when you're doing 2-digit by 1-digit and there's a 0 in the ones place, just multiply the 5 and the 6, you get 30, and then add your 0. Okay? And that's the easy way of looking at it as well. Okay? So this is the half double strategy. Let's take a look at another one. Okay, this is the break apart strategy. So again, using the same numbers, 25 times 12, I can break one of the numbers apart into its simplest form. Okay, and this is where knowing place value is very important. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to break apart 12. Okay, it's a little easier, it's a smaller number, so I'm going to break that one apart. I know that 12 really is, right, 110 and 2 ones. So I do 25 times 10, and then 25 times 2. Okay, so I know that 25 times 10 is 250, and then 25 times 2 is just 50. I add these together, and I get 300. Okay, so that's the break apart strategy. So you can break one of the numbers apart and just do, right, 25 times 10, 25 times 2, because 12 equals 110 and 2 ones. All right, let's go on to another one. The partial product strategy. Okay, this is one I like to use too with my kids that I'm working with, especially when you get with bigger numbers that are not as easy to break apart. It might take a little longer, but they get it pretty quickly. Okay, so again, I'm going to use the same numbers, 25 and 12, and I'm going to use the partial product strategy. So again, this is it goes back to the previous one where knowing place value is very important, because if they don't know their place value, then these things get a little difficult. All right, so what I'm going to do, all right, I'm going to use partial product. So what does that mean? So I'm going to use my 10s and my 1s to get 4 multiplication problems, and then I'm going to have to add them together to get my answer of 300. So the first, I always like to start the first number, so 25. So I know at 25 I have 2 10s, and I'm going to multiply that by 110. Okay, and that gives me 200. Then I take my 5 ones, okay, and actually before I do that, I caught myself. Before I do that, now I need to take my 2 tens and multiply by the 2 ones. So 20 times 2, okay, and that just gives me 40. And let's see if I can change the color real quick. Oh, yes, I can. I like to change the color so you can see the difference. Now I'm going to take my 5 ones and multiply it by 110. So 5 times 10. And that just gives me 50. Then I take my 5 ones and I multiply it by 2 ones. And we know 5 times 2 is 10. I add these all up and I get 300. Okay? So you start with, right, your first number, 2 tens times 110, 2 tens times 2 ones, 5 ones times 110, and 5 ones times 2 ones, okay? And I use different colors to show you the difference. And I always say to the kids, use different colors to show the difference, okay? So this is the partial product strategy. Now, distributive strategy, okay? So let's see what that looks like. So 25 times 12. And what I can do, I can distribute the numbers, one of the numbers, right? I can break one of the numbers apart and distribute it to the other number and still get the same answer of 300, okay? So it sounds a little confusing, but it's really easy. Okay, so I'm going to break apart the 12. Think, what two numbers can add up to 12? Well, there's a bunch of them, okay? So I can do, okay, it kind of goes back to the breaking apart strategy, but it's a little different. I can say 25 times, let's do 5, and then 25 times 7, okay? Because 7 plus 5 equals 12. Okay, I know that 25 times 5 gives me 125. Okay, and then 25 times 7 would give you 175. I add these together, and I get my answer of 300. Okay, so instead of doing it like I did before, where I broke it apart as 1, 10, and 2 ones, I broke it apart as 7 plus 5. Okay, let me go back so I can show you real quick. Right, so this one, right, I broke the 12 apart into 1, 10, and 2 ones, and in this strategy, I broke apart 12 into 5 plus 7, okay? Right, I had to do those two multiplication problems, and then I add those answers, and I get my final answer, 300, okay? Those are just different things that you can use with your kids, all right? There's so many ways of doing things, and I always tell the kids, whatever works best for you is what's best, right? These are just things to have them be exposed to. So use these strategies with your kids. You might find them easier than what we were taught growing up, because we were taught the traditional way of constantly carrying over and whatnot, and it just becomes such a hassle that these are just a lot quicker and easier for us to use and function. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. And yeah, best of luck.